Hey, this is a podcast. No, wait, it's a comedy podcast. Well, we tried to make it a comedy podcast, and it's not meant to offend anyone. So don't get offended, okay? And wait, there's something else. Oh, yeah, yeah. Listener discretion is advised.
Audiomatic presents Our Last Week.
Hi, Kunal.
Hello, Pal.
How are you, Kunal?
I'm fine. I'm well. I'm good.
We are together,
We're together.
which is good.
Great. Let's do this thing.
Yeah. We've been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
Oh, why? We've been doing this, 7, 8 years now?
Yeah, with little gaps in the middle and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But somehow I don't think of myself as a podcaster. I don't think
No.
of myself as a person who has been doing this for I'm a podcaster or like
But we could have among our listeners someone who was 16 or 17 when they started listening to us.
Yeah.
And they're now 25, 26.
Right.
They could be married. They could, they maybe like have added another member of their family and forced them to listen to us.
Yeah.
So this is the thing we were saying earlier. I suppose if you last long enough, it's sort of like, I think the movie star Shah Rukh Khan is a testament. There'll be flops, there'll be hits, but eventually there'll be hits again. I think all you just have to do is outlast everybody by living.
That's true. You got to just stay in the game.
Yeah, we talked about this earlier,
Yeah.
that maybe we're not in the quality game,
No.
but we're in the longevity game.
The best kind. Yeah.
Do you think there's a chance one of our listeners will die before us, before this podcast finishes?
You're saying while listening to the podcast,
Chan-
off the podcast? Like
Chan-
not because of the podcast.
I'm sure while listening, many have thought of killing themselves,
That's a separate
but of
thing.
old age.
Yeah, I mean, if we have some older listeners, I'm hoping not one of our younger listeners.
Yeah.
But if we have any 90-year-old listeners
Yeah,
who are
we might outlast them.
like say that the American radio host,
Yeah,
Howard Stern.
yeah. He's
I-
outlasted many of his listeners.
I think he was around when Lincoln was around. Or how long ago was that? Like
I'm sure
he witnessed,
when Kennedy he must have
Kennedy,
Yeah.
he must have this thing.
Yeah.
I think he's been around for at least 140 years.
I think at least
Or maybe
at least 140, 50 years. Yeah.
I think he was there when they wrote up their constitution and all that. Second Amendment, I think he was campaigning and all that. For
Yeah, correct.
He was
correct.
So I'm just saying that some of these guys witness a lot of the world history happening around them. Presidents come and go.
We've outlasted Manmohan Singh.
We started.
We started Manmohan Singh.
We started Manmohan Singh. Yeah.
We first Modi. If you remember early versions of our podcast, Pranab Mukherjee was
Yes.
finance minister even before he was president.
True.
We made fun of his budget and all of that.
Yes,
And
yes.
Now he's deceased.
He has.
He's
passed away,
deceased. So the podcast has outlasted that.
Yeah.
Podcast has outlasted Obama.
Yes. And Donald Trump's
The
start of
entire
the term and the end of the
entire
term.
term.
Yeah. I guess in a sort of, I wouldn't call it artistic, but in a sort of, in one of these professions where it's, like a show or like a podcast, people tend to make a big deal of the longevity. But what about the person who's just been doing a job for 30 years? I
Yeah.
mean, they've seen so many presidents
Yeah.
come and go.
He doesn't see that person. Say if you're a clerk for Canara Bank,
Correct.
he doesn't actually see the impact
Yeah.
that he's probably had on presidents and prime ministers.
And his longevity,
Yeah.
or that person, or just a normal, like a steady job kind of person
Yeah.
working at, say, Volta's doing finance or whatever it is.
See,
25 years,
he doesn't
30
go
years.
home and say, "Sir, do you know how many Indian cricket captains I've seen?"
I've seen. Yeah, they don't even think of that.
Paulie Umrigar.
Yeah.
He'll go
I guess
there.
people think of it in terms of their life, but they don't
Yeah.
think of it in terms of their work.
Yeah.
Like when I started working on this project, this is what was happening, and
Yeah.
now this is happening. And
Yeah.
But
So-
I guess in an artistic sort of profession, if something lasts over 8 months in this day and age,
It's
it's
a-
a big deal.
I mean, even if you have a job for more than 8 months,
It's
you're
huge.
a veteran.
It's, yeah.
we will probably not outlast Prime Minister Modi because he's 72.
And Aega to Modi. I mean, that is always.
Yeah, correct.
So-
Even if he's not running,
Yeah,
he'll win.
correct.
I mean, earlier a thing used to run for a long time because of public demand.
Yeah.
For example, Agatha Christie's Mousetrap
Yeah,
is a play by Agatha Christie. It ran on the West End stage for 46 years. So there's because people wanted to come and see it. Nowadays, there's no such measure.
Well, a lot of people have YouTube channels or they do podcasts and they just do it. It doesn't matter whether they have listeners or they don't, or whether the subject of the podcast or YouTube video is of interest to anyone or not.
Just like exactly, I know where you're going with this. Exactly.
So the thing is that they do it consistently.
Yeah. Like we're doing it.
Yeah.
And there's no audience expectation because there's no audience.
Yeah, and the thing is that it isn't like earlier. People would buy a ticket for Mousetrap. People would buy a ticket for a film and then it would do 16 weeks or 20, whatever, 32 weeks. And there
the
was a
reason
commercial thing.
Yeah, run for 40 years is because there's some public
Someone
demand.
wants exactly what you're saying, right? But here, if there is no pressure on us to do this.
No.
There's no
no
demand that
demand.
where is that we need to hear it.
Yeah.
Or we need to watch this.
Yeah.
So there are certain things now in the world that are
Especially
so
in
useless.
the arts. Yeah.
In the arts. And I'm saying that it's with products as well.
Yeah.
It's a physical product. Like there'll be some plastic thing to hold a toothbrush only against a tile but not against a glass. But it is it's a hyper-specific thing.
Yeah.
And they'll put it into production and it won't be asked for. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants that thing. But they'll still be
They
produced.
keep making it.
And over here also, in the arts and this thing, people now can produce something
Yeah.
without the pressure of any commercial
Any
responsibility.
Yeah.
And when it becomes so frivolous that anyone can do something,
Yeah.
then you have some thousands of YouTube channels, you have random podcasts like this. You just have things out there that
think
no
we'll
one is asking for. Really.
Nobody's asking. And do you think it'll get to a point where these podcasts and YouTube channels, there'll be more of that than listeners and viewers?
It's already happening, I
Yeah.
think. It's already happening where, and that's what Twitter and Instagram and all of this is that everyone is their own portal of media. Everyone is their own media conglomerate, and they have different aspects. Like they do a podcast, they'll do a video, they'll do a photo, they'll put it out, they'll get revenue. Everyone is now their own media company.
Yes. Yes. See, we have been doing this 10 years and we had no listeners then and we have no listeners now. And I think that that's quite an achievement to completely ignore whether anyone is consuming this. You do just because of the number of years you have spent doing it, the number of world leaders that have come and gone, the number of tax rules that have changed in that time, the number of cities that have undergone devastation or rejuvenation in that, the number of airports that have come up,
Right.
the number of centuries Virat Kohli has done.
Yeah.
So you feel somehow personally like the documenter of that. Like you feel like just by the passage of time
True.
and by speaking into a mic.
True.
But trouble is that it would have helped if there was someone on the other end
Yes.
to
and
listen and be like, oh, they did do this.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good.
Like we as if we are documenters of history.
Yeah.
Except there's no one to read the document. Like William Dalrymple is a documenter of history.
Yeah.
But people read the document. We are making a document for an oral document, audio document for whom? That's not important.
It's not. Like for me, it's very much like a caveman, okay, not doing a cave painting, which is something that is a document of history and time.
Because he knows the cave will be discovered at some point.
But if that caveman decided to do a podcast, without any equipment. And
Or
he
anyone to listen
or
to.
anyone to listen. So he just imagined that the words he's going to say are going to now live on in history.
And say he said them also.
And see, he said
In
them.
that cave to
and
no
he was
one.
very funny, very observational.
Yeah, week after week.
Oh my God, he had such insight on saber-tooths. All these things
Yeah.
he said
Yeah.
into a jungle.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
and he felt like, listen, I'm cataloging this.
Yeah.
I am telling the story of my times.
Yeah.
But there was no one to listen and no one to record.
Yeah.
So,
Because I
because
guess
he was
then-
in the wrong profession. He was into podcasting too early.
And what maybe happened is the other cavemen who could have listened were
Yeah.
each doing their own podcast.
Yeah.
So they couldn't listen to each other's.
Yeah.
So his insight on, you said saber tooth, right?
Yeah.
Which is a kind of tiger.
Lion, yeah.
It's a kind of lion. Now,
Well, yeah.
the world will never know what it's like being attacked by one.
Yeah.
Because nobody was sort of there. So you're saying we're sort of like that. We're in our cave talking. Only difference is because we sit on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, various other places, there's a chance, like our hope is after we are long dead, after all our listeners are long dead, which is our first hope, we outlast at least the first generation of listeners.
Yeah.
And then we are dead. Do you think this, my last question is, in posterity will be discovered?
No. No.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Kunal,
Yes.
question for you.
Yeah.
G20
G20.
is
Yes.
a big summit that just happened. Now, all these people get to see a side of New Delhi, all these foreign delegates that are coming in. They get to see a side of New Delhi that is very pristine, very clean, because the government, now we have quite a powerful government, they clean up the whole city.
Or at least the route.
The route.
Yeah.
G20 just concluded, and there was some criticism that they forcefully cleaned up the city of Delhi, got rid of slums, moved some monkeys to create a clean route from the airport to the G20 conference center
Right.
and the fancy hotels these people are all staying in. Your conundrum was, you know Delhi, you've worked in Delhi, you've lived in Delhi on and off. I know Delhi a little bit. What does, say, a G20 trade delegation member see from the moment they land at Indira Gandhi International Airport on their 2-day stay in Delhi? What do they see of India? So you had a theory about this. You thought that they may not get to see the Delhi we know.
Honestly, the simple route from the airport to any of the diplomatic enclave.
Let's pick a hotel, say Taj Man Singh.
Yeah,
is
but
where they stay.
I would have to say that I've been on that route, straight from the airport to South Delhi, and it's pretty
It
clean.
is quite green, yeah.
It's very green. I mean, they've done the roads very well, and it's been like that for a while now. So that is not the issue. But as soon as you veer off in any direction, I haven't been to Delhi over the last few months, so I don't know. But in Bombay, where I'm sure other delegates are going to be coming, they've obviously barricaded any slum area or any construction zones or anything that is unpleasant to look at. Has these huge sort of banners which are just G20, which
And
are
they
kind
create
of
a passage. They like just go from here, from
only
the airport,
here.
only here.
So it's like an intersign, and you're shat out at the end, and
Into
you're
a hotel.
Into your hotel.
And from
then-
hotel also car will pick you up, take down corridor.
and straight
So the
into
municipality has made sure that thanks to these corridors, you don't actually have to
see or interact. Yeah.
So the moment is if someone tears through that fabric, through a
Pops her head
giant
out.
photo of Prime Minister Modi and enters India,
Yeah.
then they can see anything.
Yeah. It's very much like it's like a matrix.
Yeah.
It's like a matrix,
Yeah.
or it's exactly like the matrix
Yeah.
because when you see reality,
Yeah.
it's like
Truman Show.
Truman Show. You know, like you
they've-
step out of the thing
Yeah.
and it's just a set.
Yeah.
So I think the whole thing is basically a set.
Yeah. You know how in the old days, they used to have a thing called village fair. So in cities, they used to have a thing they used to have stalls, Rajasthan, West Bengal. They'd make a little village from that part for city people to see what villages look like.
Correct. They'll have a bangle maker,
Yeah, a camel.
a camel,
A
then
Ferris wheel. So this is like India,
Yeah.
through Modi to your hotel. They've created a corridor India.
Yeah.
where you get to see one beautiful conference center, with little car, little thing. But don't, like, say, take a right and go into Khan Market, where you could go into Ayub's and eat a roll and all, because that's out of the matrix.
Yeah. See, in all honesty, I don't know how much to criticize what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because
We sort of make our own matrix in India.
I'm not in India, in our own homes.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm saying that, like, when I have guests over,
Yeah.
like, I have so much. I have a
Underwear.
clothes rack. I have a clothes drying
Yeah.
in my hall under
Yeah.
the fan.
Yeah.
Because it's raining right now. I mean, you
Yeah.
can't put it out on the
Yeah.
balcony, So it's drying under the fan.
Yeah.
Clothes.
Yeah.
There are underwears. Kids' shoes are strewn all over the
Yeah.
place. There are books lying in places. There's no surface you can put a glass on.
Yeah.
So as in, like, sometimes you're looking around, where do I place this thing?
Yeah.
There's no empty surface.
Yeah.
There's a printer, on a sideboard.
Yeah.
Then there'll be like a hot water kettle.
Yeah.
Then there's like a dog's thing. There's a dog house which has a wet dog towel on it. And when guests are coming, I quickly clear all of that and I have this loft in which I shove it.
Yeah.
And then I take all these other things, and my son has a bunk bed. So we shove everything on top of that bunk bed,
Yeah.
and it gets
Including
jammed
your
like
son.
that. My son also, because
He
that's
also-
also unsightly.
Yeah.
You don't want to just put him up. Put everyone.
Close all the
Close
doors.
it, lock it.
Yeah.
And then I've got this one thing in the toilet in the guest toilet,
Yeah.
above the thing. I shower all shit into the loft.
Yeah.
So there are like lamps and frames and like a lot of, and I close it.
Yeah.
Okay.
They come. Welcome.
Come, aye, come.
Yeah.
And
You like a little whiskey? What would you like?
what do you like? And
Yeah.
people are like, oh, look at this.
Lovely
this is
house.
very nice. And then suddenly when everyone leaves, not only does my, it just explodes.
Papa!
Yeah.
Dog comes out. Laundry
And it
goes.
just like,
yeah.
it just tears at the seams and,
Yeah.
and the house goes back into, it's
So that's India, you're saying.
normal state.
That's just India.
So I don't think it's a thing that is very different from how we do it at home.
So you're saying
like
the
everyone's
moment-
complaining, oh, they covered it up. Listen, what do you do when people come home?
Yeah.
You do
We do the
exactly the
same- we do
same
the same
thing.
thing.
Same thing you do. Don't look into that. Don't open that cupboard, because you open that cupboard, shit is going to fall out of that cupboard.
Yeah.
All my clothes, ironed clothes, are stacked in my cupboard. I open the cupboard, all fall on me.
So what you're saying is that's a metaphor for India. It's a fascinating metaphor. So you're saying the moment Joe Biden's plane takes off,
Yeah.
those Modi vinyl is ripped.
Yeah.
And a langur comes out and humps a ARP worker. Like whatever Delhi goes back to Delhi.
Right.
Like two jars shoot each other in the face.
Correct.
You
It's
know?
basically like opening your button.
Yeah. Relax.
Relax हो गया.
वो सब चलेगा.
अरे chill हो गया,
सब
एकदम
चलेगा.
relax हो गया
Yeah,
यार.
उसको गोली मारो उसको.
Yeah.
उसको Delhi back to Delhi. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Just throw a kebab at him now.
जानता है मैं all
Yeah,
that stuff.
जानता है आप कौन है. Like just Delhi, just
Yeah,
relaxed. You are very old. You are very old.
Very.
Very.
Ancient.
I'm very old. Right?
Yep.
I have a question. Just wanted to get your view on this. Where I'm 47 and parts of my body are beginning to ache that I didn't know were possible to ache. Like the balls of my feet. Is that what they're called? The balls of your feet? You've got your toes, and what is the other end of your feet?
It's the balls.
of
Yeah,
your
the
feet.
balls.
The balls of my
like
feet
your
hurt.
heel and the other part after the heel between
This is
the
a family
toe and
podcast, so there's none of that language. But exactly. So the balls of my feet hurt. Like sometimes I'll wake up, and just one of my ears will just sort of suddenly get blocked. Like things start happening in your body. After a certain age, you'll wake up and this left hand will be stuck for 4 minutes in this position. In sort of a semi-raised position. You're like, why can't I bend down my arm? So I'm saying, is that what growing old means? Just slowly losing control, like the brain is not giving information to the body quickly enough. I know you've started working out, you said last time, because you didn't want to become a whale. So I'm saying, is that what growing old means? Like sometimes you'll get up, you're like, why am I not being able to feel the entire lower half of my body?
Yeah, as in, I think waking up with aches and pains is Definitely. I mean, it's a normal thing,
Yeah.
like your back,
Kunal,
you can't move your neck. And I've always,
but also from body parts you're not expecting.
You're
like
not
you woke
expecting.
up and your belly button starts hurting.
you
You're
get a
like,
sharp shooting pain. What is this?
this is, I didn't know this was possible.
Yeah.
You know, like the middle of the ridge of your nose,
Yeah.
where between the nostrils, you're in dire pain.
Yeah.
You're like, I didn't know this could hurt. This is a cartilage. Why is this hurting? You know, like, or like sometimes you'll wake up, right, and part of half your eye will close.
It's stuck.
And you're like, I didn't know my eyelid could do that. I didn't know. I thought either your whole eye shut. How is your body so flexible and able to create this kind of pain? You know, like sometimes you think, are you getting there?
Well, definitely. I mean, I'm there. I think it is very much like anything that
Is aging.
is aging.
But also, I didn't realize that, like, I have a pretty fat, flabby body, right? I didn't know fat could hurt. You know, like,
Fat technically should not hurt.
should not.
Because
Like,
fat
it's
doesn't
fat.
have, it's just fat. It doesn't have any pain sort of
Yeah.
receptacles.
So
I mean,
why are you hurting fat? You know?
muscle can hurt.
Yeah.
Muscles, but fat itself,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just fat. It's just
Yeah.
like, it's like the oil has risen to the top of the surface of your body. You know,
Yeah.
like it's literally
I'm like a vat of biryani.
yeah,
You know, like
and the oil is floating on top.
That's just me.
Yeah.
In fact, I think when we met the first time, you were not sure, am I a person or am I a vat of oil?
Yeah.
You know, you were confused for a while whether to come and talk to me because it's like this could be an inanimate object.
Could be Vindaloo. I don't know.
I don't know if this is a
Is it a
person.
Vindaloo? Also?
Like the other day, I was just walking somewhere and my lower lip started hurting and I'm like, there's nothing here.
I think it basically got to do with one thing, Pal. That's circulation. Socially, you're circulating. You know, you're traveling abroad. You're going here. You're circulating. You're stressed. You have friend circle. You're social. Your body is not. There's nothing circulating in your body. You know, your blood is not circulating enough. You're not. You know what I'm saying? Like that's when I feel that things start hurting and paining. When just things in your body just don't get enough blood and oxygen, and it's just not.
But
like,
there was a time last winter when I tried to work out. Like every morning I do some stretching. There were 2 days, 7 days I did it. 2 days where I did the squats and I couldn't get up. And my partner had to come and help me up. You can laugh, but I'm just saying, if my partner was not living with me,
yeah, you'd still be squatting.
this podcast would be delayed because I would have crawled to a phone, you know. So I'm saying my intentions are honorable, but has my back lost the ability for getting information that it needs to go up and down?
I just think that the communication gaps developed, you know, between
But your
the-
spine is like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
So, I mean, you have to get your body used to it, but I don't think you've opened up that dialogue, that conversation.
I tried to open it, but my body shut it
but
down.
they're like, listen, we're not getting into this only. We're not interested in what you have to say. You know, we're now on our own journey. This is you can think what you want to think, Mr. Brain, emotions, whatever. Listen,
stay
you all
down
can
now.
fuck off.
Yeah.
Okay. This is now our scene. Okay, we're going to take it from here. You wanted to talk, you should have come 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You wanted, come, let's
Yeah.
go for a jog.
Yeah.
Oh, let's do this. Fuck you.
Yeah.
You know, don't look this way only.
Yeah.
So that's what
And
your body is basically
also I
telling
think the
you.
message it's sending is through other parts of the body that you didn't know could hurt. Like the other day in Edinburgh, I sat down and my butt cheeks were hurting. And I'm thinking, what? There's no bone there. How is this hurting? This is just fat, isn't it? Like what is in the bottom part of your
There's a
bottom?
muscle behind that. There's a bone behind that muscle. There's all of these things are there. Now,
It's the message it's sending is you thought this couldn't hurt. You were wrong.
I think a lot of them also are very, very tired of just being like unheard of. You know, I think a lot of them are just putting their hands up to say, "Hey,
it's
hi,
not
how
just,
are you?"
I know kidney stones is your thing, but
yeah,
we're also here.
We're also here.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
everyone's like,
Oh,
"Listen,
heart.
oh yeah, heart, the big
lungs,
one, kidney, all that.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm your little finger."
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Which the other day started hurting for no
Correct.
reason.
But it's going to say hi.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm saying that like just be used to now a little.
Don't take us for granted.
Don't yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think? Just because I'm like whatever your eyebrow, I don't have
Yeah.
I don't have any
Yeah.
say in this matter.
Yeah. Or the edge of your earlobe, which is a
Yeah.
cartilage. Sharp pain. Why? It's like a pain like I was getting a piercing done.
It's a hello, how are you?
It's like 47 years we haven't talked.
Yeah.
It's time for a chat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last conundrum, Kunal.
Yes.
And it is from our producer. And he says, a month ago, I saw my neighbor wearing a t-shirt with the NASA logo, which I really liked. I brought the same one online. Few days later, he got a pair of sandals, Crocs, which were perfect for me. So I got them too. Yesterday, I saw him in the lift wearing a Casio G-Shock model, which I had not seen in the stores ever. I bought that too for myself. The neighbor clearly has great taste in things which I really like. How far do you think I can go on doing this? Excellent question from our producer. What he's actually asking is, at what point do I become my neighbor?
Because he's got really good taste in shorts and shoes and watches and all that.
Yeah.
And he's going out and he's buying it himself.
Did you ever see I saw an Instagram reel recently where a bunch of wives had made their husbands all dress alike, but hadn't told them.
Correct.
But they all showed up at a brunch wearing the same t-shirt, socks.
Right.
I think it's very disconcerting if you see another. At what point do you become that guy? And it's an excellent conundrum because maybe without realizing, our producer want to emulate other things of that guy's life, his political views. I'm not saying he wants to run away with his wife, but I'm just saying he may want to run away with his wife. Maybe he wants everything of his life. The talented Mr. Ripley.
It's character theft.
Character theft.
Yeah, it's you're stealing a person's life.
Yeah.
You're stealing a person's persona.
Yeah.
And
Look, shoes, watch.
Everything.
Yeah. Values. Yeah.
And you so want to be a person
Yeah.
that you might want to then replace them at some
You
point.
consciously don't even do it. You do it unconsciously.
I think that a lot of us do it when we look up to people's opinions and this thing. We do tend to try and emulate that.
But see, I'm a big fan of a few people.
Yeah.
I like the author William Dalrymple quite
Right.
a lot. I like the books he writes. But me becoming him is such a leap that when I start wearing these sort of Afghan clothes, and speaking at darbars, I can't become him because I haven't written those books. No one will come. It'll be like this podcast.
Yeah.
So I can't become him.
Right.
But I'm saying in his
But in
case,
some
it's
way
a
you-
neighbor.
Yeah. I'm saying, but in some way, you would subliminally sort of emulate some aspect of this thing. Like whether it's his interest or I don't know.
Interests.
Something.
Interests.
Like I remember when I was very
Do you
young.
have someone like that?
Not particularly, but I do remember when it came to style. I remember I must have been quite young and impressionable, about 16, 17, and I was taking a flight to go on some show somewhere, theatre show. And I remember a guy in front of me who was at the security check and he was wearing shorts. He had these very comfortable looking shoes on, like mocassin-ish kind of shoes, very 90s kind of light shoes, a nice leather belt, a very lovely light linen shirt, and a leather bag in which he had some stuff, and a very elegant leather bag and a watch. Very relaxed and and I remember looking at him and I was standing there in my jeans and whatever it was and a shirt and a kurta and thinking, yeah, I could look like that. And I've realized that over the years, I've kind of started looking like that. I'm not saying I'm as stylish as he was. I'm still I'm not as well turned out. But I do wear shorts. I do, I wear the sandals or the shoes. I have a leather bag.
It's actually like a preppy, wealthy sort of East Coast America look.
Yeah. I think that in everyone's head, you should keep a goal for, okay, now I'm going to look like
I
this.
want to change. I do want to change.
And I think that ultimately you should head in a general direction.
Because
and
see
I think
now
tracks is I think tracks would be like a certain thing for you.
What does my look currently say? My current look currently says divorced dad, living off his savings. It's not that far from the truth, but
Who's come straight from work,
comes straight from some work.
other job.
Some work, yeah.
Who's come from some other job.
Yeah.
Who's doing this on the side.
But whatever job it is sole proprietorship. You know, he doesn't have any big company or whatever.
no.
You know, in the old days, I would look like the Christian owner of a sound studio that he rents out, that he inherited from his parents,
Yeah.
and makes a just beating inflation income.
So
You know, that with a bush shirt
yeah.
and trousers. The bush shirt gives it away.
It's a good, yeah.
You know, that look, but takes credit for a tagline. Like Taste the Thunder says it's his, but it never was. But dines out on that anecdote for a while. Like, that's the look I have right now.
That I would really like to see you now as a stand-up comic move into the phase, you know, where you physically become a persona. You know, like I remember there was a phase when Eddie Murphy was on the stand-up scene, and he had this certain, you know, like he would come with these jackets, and he'd have these shiny jackets, and he'd, you know, like he had a certain persona on stage. I'd really like to see you in jumpsuits. You know, like I think that
Like FUBU.
like FUBU, like
Yeah.
a full
Like Bottom would say juicy.
one of those kind
Yeah.
of things, but not the juicy one, like, you know, like a sports Adidas kind of
Yeah,
look, you know,
yeah,
stripes on the side
Yeah.
and going down the
Yeah,
side,
yeah.
same color.
Yeah.
I remember I bought one. It was a velvet green color.
Onesie.
It was it was two pieces.
Yeah.
I think a onesie would do you good.
But if I went with the onesie tracksuit, what does that say about me also? Because the belly would flop a little, you know, it would be.
But I think that it would be a thing, you know, and then you just walk around. Even on the plane, you could wear it.
Yeah.
You could then.
You're not saying this just for your own amusement, are you?
No, I'm saying it because what happens is that then every time you pass somewhere, you become a person who looks like that. You know, then every time did you see that
Yeah.
pal, that comedian, he just walked by this way.
Yeah.
Right now, because
I've seen him so many times. He's always in a tracksuit.
always in a tracksuit, just different colors. I'm saying so at least you know that, oh, this is now he's passing by.
For the longest time, during the day in Bombay, I wanted to have only one look. You know, and I toyed with the idea of what if I had 7 white shirts, bush shirts, and 7 black trousers. You know, but then I realized that I'd look like a corporator.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a. I mean, it's a fine look, but it's not a. I see what you mean. I think we're at that age where we need a look,
Yeah.
not a mixture of clothes.
And I've seen this happen a lot to people between their 30s and 40s, actually. Like, you know, whether they're financial advisors or they're now getting into running their own mutual fund, you know, they're mutual fund managers. Like, I've seen guys who've started wearing bow ties. Guys who've started wearing thicker rimmed glasses and doing something with their hair. They're in finance, you know, but they want to separate themselves from. I'm not a normal number cruncher. I'm a savant. You know, I'm a guy who's
so
going
the glasses will be red.
It'll be red glasses.
Yeah.
Or the guy
Maverick.
suddenly shave his head, bow
Yeah,
tie.
yeah.
Oh my god, that guy. He
Yeah.
looks like Monopoly guy. I think like immediately you know, oh.
But my worry is there's a look I like, which is the look I like is bush shirt, you know, trousers, well-made trousers, black framed glasses, shaved head. It's a look I like. But then very recently I saw a photograph of Adman and Maverick Pritish Nandi
Yeah.
in his 40s, and
Correct.
he had that look.
That's okay. He's forgotten about it. No? Like
He's left it behind.
He's left it.
So, but
Someone can pick it
accidentally,
up.
is he becoming my mentor accidentally?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And I'll tell you what happens when you adopt a look, na, it's not the people's acceptance you need. People will accept
It's the mentors.
the mentors and your friends.
Yeah.
The ones who'll fuck you the most
Yeah.
will be your friends. I
Yeah.
remember once you had come to, we were shooting The President is Coming, the film.
Yeah.
And you had come to the shoot
Yeah.
wearing very thick rimmed round glasses.
Do you remember that phase?
I remember
the
that.
Gandhi phase.
It was not very long. It lasted 2 days, I think. And you bought it on a whim, and I think you were wearing it. And everyone was like, what is wrong with you, pal? You know. And you were experimenting. I think you were
and a
stepping
lot
out
of
of your
people
comfort zone.
over the years, you have said that to me and it's meant different things at different places. Sometimes it's like you just fell into a ditch. What is wrong with you, pal? Sometimes it's like, what is wrong with you, pal? What are you doing with your life?
Yeah.
This could have been anything.
It
This
could have
wa-
been either.
Yeah.
And you wore it, and I mean, obviously all hell broke loose, and you immediately abandoned it.
stopped.
The film stopped. We had
For a
to.
while.
I think we cancelled the day of shoot.
Yes.
We said
At
no.
significant cost.
At a heavy cost, and we had a talk, and we said this won't fly.
No.
And I think
The
you
cast refused to come back.
They would not work, and you dropped those glasses, and then everything went back to normal. But I'm saying that now, when you suddenly make this shift of okay, now I'm going to be a real serious financial advisor. Now I'm going to be a real serious writer or director. I need to look like one.
I have to get glasses because, as you know, I've always been an intellectual.
Yeah. But if you don't have the glasses,
How am I an intellectual?
yeah.
Because see, like as a Bengali, I am an intellectual. I
yeah.
shouldn't have to say it.
No.
Like people should know about this.
Yes.
I mean, I know that when I say I'm an intellectual, you start laughing.
No.
That's because you are not an intellectual and you can't appreciate an intellectual. So therefore, I need a piece of clothing that says to the world, I'm an intellectual. Fuck you all. Glasses are it.
Yeah.
In my case.
So I think that this is what's going to help your stand-up career
Yeah.
is your styling.
Styling.
Yeah. And the image of yourself that you create. I know that you do wear a lot of wigs during your stand-up. Not to cover this thing, but the long
Empire.
the empire wigs.
That was a look.
That was a look, yeah.
But you can't live life
That
with a
you can't-
17th century wig.
No, you can't, check into a flight and all that stuff, or you're taking a train to
Because they will think
Pragraj
you're a
and
British judge from 1910.
yeah.
Then
So,
there's
it
a
would get
fine line
confusing.
between madness and fashion. You never want to cross that line.
Yeah.
Fashion designers now, at least with celebrities, are very keen to showcase their work on the celebrity with no regard for the celebrity's day-to-day movements and where they might need to go.
Or the well-being of society. What is it doing to people at large?
Or what is it doing? Exactly. Tomorrow, say for a film, it is likely, you are a celebrity. Chances are someone dresses you, like a wasp.
Yeah.
Like it's you, but they've given you wasp wings. And dressed like that, you have to take a spice jet flight to promote a new film as a wasp. Now, the designer didn't think through the practical difficulties of that.
No.
And then you have to check into, say, a lemon tree or whatever as a wasp. Now, the thing is, and the press will take photos of you, all lovely, but there are day-to-day issues living in India if you make a significant fashion statement. But you don't want to become ridiculous also. You don't want somebody to say, oh, he looks like Shakti Kapoor. Oh, he looks like Sanjay Dutt. Oh,
What
he
has
looks
always fascinated me about very high fashion is how it is used in average day-to-day life. Not like when you're heading to a party or to like a GQ event or whatever it is. But it's always when it is used, like I'm taking the 138 to Churchgate station, taking the train and going to Malad West. Okay, that is my journey to my thing. But I am wearing not a wasp because a costume is a costume, but I'm wearing very high fashion. Like the transparent sort of raincoat look pants with a net t-shirt and
Armani.
And a very long coat tails which drag on the ground. But I'm saying stuff that is worn on the this thing, but is used in an average daily sort of this thing.
Like you're going to the Met Gala,
Yeah.
but you're just taking a train to Malad.
You're just doing a normal thing.
Bombay commuters will not make a big deal out of it, because they're used to seeing...
They're used to seeing a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I just think it might be a little uncomfortable, like
I just think you have to...
plastic pants and all that stuff is just difficult to deal with in the hot. sort
See
of
the
thing.
average couture look. Like
Yeah.
say like the director Karan Johar sometimes advertises,
Yeah.
I don't think if you don't own a vehicle
Yeah.
of your own,
It doesn't work.
it doesn't quite work
Yeah.
in public transport.
That's what I was thinking is that then the clothes demand a certain vehicle or a certain lifestyle.
Yeah,
like
at least any vehicle, like some sheltering.
some sheltering. Like I don't think like I like clothes that just can be worn and then it's fine, then you can take the car or you can take a train or you can take a plane. It doesn't matter, because it's fine. But as soon as the clothes start dictating my movements,
Yeah.
whether physical or through space,
Like there'll be some gown made for a lady for a Filmfare Award,
yeah,
where the extension of the gown is about 30 feet.
yeah,
So it needs two helpers, assistants,
right. But now,
PR women to carry
But
the
then
gown.
she can't take the metro and come.
This is the thing.
She can't do Ghatkopar to Andheri or whatever it is,
Yeah.
saying that, I'll
Unless
take
there
the-
are two people carrying the
carrying
gown
it
from the
through
back.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I think that sometimes they should have the event where they show the full journey of the person using public transport getting to the event.
Yeah. भाई
You
साहब
know?
एक सेकंड सॉरी
Sorry, हाँ,
Just
sorry.
sorry. मैडम को जाना है सॉरी है
And
आप
then
पूरा
just-
कंपार्टमेंट कैसे ले सकते हैं
Yeah.
अरे नहीं
So
यार
then
ये
that
फिल्म
full-
फेयर है
Yeah.
या इट्स नॉट इजी
Pal, before we end this podcast, there was one thing that was troubling me about this G20 thing.
से
And something that, again, our producer brought up, which had to do with the conversations that these people have at the summit.
there's a large number of translators
There is a large number of
Translators.
who basically make sure that people can understand
each other
each other. And there will be, someone from every side. I mean, sometimes because there are 20 people,
Yes.
there won't be one translator per person. Sometimes
No.
there'll be 4, 5, 6 translators, given that, someone's going to be talking in a different. So each person might have multiple translators helping them get this conversation through. And those people will be there'll be multiple people even at a dinner table. There might even be someone who might have to whisper something to someone else. He'll say, just tell me what he said. Then they might have to say it again. Then they'll. So I wanted to know that how much of our world history or the state in which we're in today has been determined not by the leaders themselves, but by good or bad translations of what they were saying.
and also like you said what kind of the day the translator was having.
Exactly. Like, what mood the translator is in. I'm saying a simple thing like someone saying in whatever language, we would love to do trade with you. And the translator translated as, we wouldn't mind doing trade with you.
You wouldn't mind, huh?
Wouldn't mind. What did he say? He said he wouldn't mind doing trade
Fine,
with
we'll
you.
buy nuclear weapons from Russia.
Yeah.
Oh, you'll buy nuclear weapons from Russia?
You're buying nuclear weapons from
We'll
Russia.
drop a bomb on
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
It
What did he say?
escalates.
So I'm saying that, just the use of the correct word at the correct place, at the correct, with the right expression. So there's so much that is going to be said, and so much reading between. That's why they say you have to read between the lines.
Yeah.
And I'm saying the translator sometimes might not be able to read between the lines, might even take things too literally.
Yeah.
Do you think that the course of the world history or the situation we're in right now, how much of it has been affected? Do you
I think significantly, because I think first the mood of the translator is a key factor, but also a lot of world diplomacy is on whether I like the other person or not. It's oftentimes, Nixon hated Indira Gandhi and found her abhorrent as a person. It could have been the translator. So that's why US and India had terrible relations in those years. No trade in the 70s. Because the two people hated each other.
Well, although
And
in
the-
that case, I guess they could speak the same language at most
They could
times.
speak
Yeah,
English.
yeah.
Correct. So there was
But
no translator.
there was no translator there. But I'm saying that there are many times between Russia and India,
Say-
India and France.
Say Gaddafi talking to Obama.
Yeah.
Now that can go anywhere. Right?
Anywhere.
We see Libya as a partner, right? We see Libya as a reasonable partner. Let's say you use the wrong word there instead of strategic. And say if Libya says we see America as an okay partner, some Libyan language translation, the word should have been very good partner.
Correct.
Then Obama will reply saying we see Libya as an okay partner also.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. So they've both left with a little khunnas.
And it soured the whole relationship.
Yeah. Now that could lead to eventually bombs dropping on Libya.
Correct. Many things can happen.
So-
Like recently, there was that event that between the Prime Minister of Canada
Yes.
and the Premier of China,
Xi Jinping,
and Justin Trudeau.
who was very upset. Xi Jinping was very upset about a press conference that leaked to the press.
Right. And he was making very stern and angry sort of statements in face to face.
Yes.
And
It's leaked on Instagram.
And it was leaked on Instagram. And there was a translator in the middle.
Yes.
So I'm saying now, if Xi Jinping is saying, you bastard, don't you ever fucking give me another press conference that I'm going to fucking cut your balls off.
Feed you
your own testicles. Now, if the translator tempers that also.
China is quite unhappy about the leak that has come out in the press.
Yeah.
But Xi Jinping's hands are like, cut off your balls. You can see his hands.
Yeah. And he's like,
feed it to you.
Yeah. And he's like,
I'm going to take my fist, shove it up your ass, man. Turn it. He's like, what is he saying?
he's saying that the
Our
turn of
future
events of
bilateral trade may be affected. But what's he doing with his hand? Saying, no, this is just something, he's not suggesting anything.
So I'm saying that
Why is he
even
turning his
Canada
hand
then would
inside my
not
ass?
take the threat very seriously.
Yeah,
he
because
might
he wouldn't
end up
understand the threat.
He wouldn't understand the severity of the threat.
Yeah.
He might go and end up doing it again.
Yeah.
And then sanctions. And then trade will be affected. And then the lives of millions of people on either side because of the translator.
I'm saying, therefore, as a world leader, if you want to make a statement, don't be vague. Meaning, if you are upset with Justin Trudeau, grab his balls and squeeze it. Just go there and squeeze it. And then have him say, what is he saying? What is he saying? Premier Xi is saying that the things between our two countries are not good. Then you get the message.
And
because he's just grabbed his balls.
Totally. And I think that, what, I don't think people have understood the genius of Prime Minister Modi in this whole thing is that he has eliminated the translator from this whole thing.
Correct.
In fact, I don't think he's called for one also.
No.
Because all he does is that he expresses this thing with tight squeezing of hugs.
Big hugs and lots of laughter.
And lots of laughter.
He says yes.
So he laughs. And,
Yeah.
and basically what you're supposed to gauge is how much he laughs or doesn't laugh, how tight he hugs or doesn't hug.
Yeah.
So what he's done is eliminated the middleman.
And also
he gets really huggy. Like he might end up squeezing someone's back. He'll grab an arm and he'll squeeze it nice and tight. So basically the
like
person...
Macron, he loves squeezing Macron.
So I'm saying that there's some amount of this thing where he said, listen, you sit down, you're going to mess things up.
Yeah.
I'm just going to squeeze this guy. He'll know how much I love him.
This is our last week, Kunaal.
This has been our last week. Yeah.
Please write to us at ourlastweek@audiomatic.in. We will be here. We love you. We are on patreon.com /ourlastweek, and we have quite a few Patreon subscribers.
Yes.
So our whole plan of speaking into an abyss is not true because the abyss has 40 other people.
40,000 you mean?
40,000 people. 40,000 people.
40 to 40,000.
40 to 40,000 people is in the abyss. So this is we're all going to die together.
Yeah.
Where there are at least 40,002 of us.
Yeah.
So
40 plus you could
40
say.
plus. Yeah. How many listeners do you have? 40 plus.
Much more than 40.
40 plus. How many? 2 million?
43.
43. Could be anything between 43 and 2 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. So much of life is between 43 and 2 million.
Yeah. We are between 43 and 2 million.
Exactly. So please write to us.
Yes, please do.
And we love you.
Bye.
Bye.
You were listening to Our Last Week, produced by Akanksha Kadam and Avdoot Khanolkar, hosted by Anuvab and Kunaal Roy Kapoor.